Do you think Living Single was just a fun sitcom about 4 friends in a Brooklyn brownstone? Think again. Because 30 years later, the real stories behind these faces are more dramatic than anything the writers ever put on screen. One star buried her mother and her brother before the world ever saw her cry. One actor nearly died in a car crash 6 weeks before walking back onto that set. One king of the show's soundtrack collapsed on a Beverly Hills street at just 44. And the woman everyone assumed was hiding something was actually just waiting for the right moment to say it out loud. This is Living Single, then and now. Thank you for being part of the memories we all share. Queen Latifah as Khadijah James. Queen Latifah was 23 years old when she stepped into the role of Khadijah James in 1993, the sharp, driven magazine editor who held her friend group together. Born Dana Elaine Owens on March 18, 1970, in Newark, New Jersey, she was already a Grammy-winning rapper before the cameras ever rolled. For years, Latifah kept her personal life locked away, once telling the New York Times flatly that people could assume whatever they wanted about her. She simply wasn't going to discuss it. Then, at the 2021 BET Awards, accepting a Lifetime Achievement honor, she finally said the words fans had waited decades to hear, thanking her partner, choreographer Ebony Nichols, and their son Rebel, and ending her speech with happy pride. The couple met in 2009, went public in 2013, and welcomed Rebel in 2019, shortly after Latifah lost her mother, Rita, to a long illness. Today, at 56, Queen Latifah has an estimated net worth of $60 to $70 million, an Oscar nomination, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and a career that never stopped climbing. The girl who once refused to explain herself finally got to define her own story, on her own terms. Stephen Gilborn as Jeffrey Higgins. Stephen Gilborn joined the show in its 2nd season, playing Kyle Barker's steady, wise-cracking boss at the brokerage. Born July 15, 1936, in New Rochelle, New York, Gilborn spent decades as one of Hollywood's most reliable character actors, moving comfortably between comedy and drama long before Living Single. A new generation would come to know him as Ellen DeGeneres' father on The Ellen Show, and he racked up dozens of guest credits across television throughout the 80s and 90s. He passed away on January 2, 2009, at his home in North Chatham, New York, after a battle with cancer at the age of 72. He never became a household name the way some of his younger castmates did, but almost every serious television fan has seen his face somewhere. The mark of an actor who worked constantly because directors trusted him completely. John Henton as Overton Wakefield Jones. John Henton was 33 when he brought Overton O.B. Jones to life, the brownstone's warm-hearted handyman. Born November 23, 1960, in Cleveland, Ohio, Henton had already spent years grinding on the stand-up circuit before landing the role. In September 2000, his life changed in an instant. A serious car accident left him with 2 shattered legs, 9 broken teeth, and lasting damage to his face. He returned to work just 6 weeks later, but the years of surgeries that followed pulled him gradually away from the spotlight. He went on to co-star in The Hughleys and made scattered appearances afterward, including a cameo on Hannah Montana, but has largely stayed out of the public eye since. Now in his 60s, Henton remains one of the show's most quietly resilient survivors. Kim Coles as Sinclair James Jones. Kim Coles was 31 when she took on Sinclair, Khadijah's endearingly scattered cousin. Born January 11, 1962, in Brooklyn, Coles came to the show fresh off a season on In Living Color. After Living Single ended, she wrote the book, I'm Free, But It Will Cost You, hosted reality competitions like The Mole and The Surreal Life, and spent years as a sought-after motivational speaker, turning her own setbacks into material that helped other people heal. More recently, she played Nurse Whitley King on Days of Our Lives, and in 2023, she reunited with Erica Alexander, to launch the Reliving Single podcast, revisiting the show for a new generation of fans. Now in her 60s, Coles has built a second career on the very thing Sinclair always had in abundance: heart. T.C. Carson as Kyle Barker. T.C. Carson was 35 when he made Kyle Barker one of the show's most magnetic characters, the smooth-talking stockbroker whose sparring with Maxine became must-watch television. Born November 19, 1958, in Chicago, Carson left the show before its final season after clashing with the studio over pay, pointing at the time to what a comparable show like Friends was paying its cast. The exit could have ended his career. Instead, Carson rebuilt it almost entirely in voice work, becoming the original voice of Kratos in the God of War video game franchise, alongside roles in Rugrats and Clifford the Big Red Dog. Now in his 60s, he still tours with his band and keeps working. Proof that walking away from a fight doesn't have to mean losing it. Erica Alexander as Maxine Shaw. Erica Alexander was 24 when she turned Maxine Shaw into one of television's most iconic depictions of a black woman attorney, sharp-tongued and unshakable. Born November 19, 1969, in Winslow, Arizona, Alexander had already appeared on The Cosby Show before joining Living Single. In the years since, she's built one of the most versatile resumes of the whole cast, a supporting role in Jordan Peele's Get Out, a producing credit on an award-winning true crime series, a street named in her honor in her hometown, and a widely praised turn in the Oscar-nominated American fiction. Now in her mid-50s, she's also become a vocal advocate and filmmaker, using her platform for causes far beyond entertainment. Kim Fields as Regine Hunter. Kim Fields was 24 when she played Regine, the image-conscious roommate always chasing the finer things. Born May 12, 1969, in New York City, Fields was already a familiar face from the facts of life before joining the show. She's since built a career on both sides of the camera, directing television episodes, appearing on Real Housewives of Atlanta and Dancing with the Stars, and raising 2 sons with husband Christopher Morgan. Now in her mid-50s, Fields has proven to be one of the show's most enduring multi-hyphenates. Heavy D as Daryl. Heavy D, born Dwight Myers on May 24, 1967, appeared as Daryl in several episodes across the show's run, but acting was really the side project. As the frontman of Heavy D and the Boys, one of the first hip-hop acts signed to Uptown Records, he helped bring rap into the mainstream and later became the label's president, one of the few artists of his era to move from the mic to the executive suite. His voice opened the theme song for In Living Color, and he worked alongside artists like Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson throughout his career. On November 8, 2011, after flying home from a trip to England, he collapsed on a Beverly Hills street from a pulmonary embolism. He was 44 years old. His music legacy and the artists he mentored along the way still echo through the industry today. Isaiah Washington as Dr. Charles Roberts. Isaiah Washington was 30 when he appeared as Khadijah's love interest in the show's 4th season. Born August 3, 1963, in Houston, his career would later reach new heights on Grey's Anatomy, before a widely reported on-set incident led to his firing from the show. He stepped back into smaller roles, directing and humanitarian work, eventually being honored as a tribal chief in Sierra Leone for his charitable contributions there. Now in his early 60s, Washington continues acting and directing while remaining deeply involved in that humanitarian work. Bumper Robinson as Yvonne Ennis. Bumper Robinson was already an industry veteran by the time he joined Living Single in its 3rd season, playing Yvonne Ennis, the college-age messenger with an obvious crush on Khadijah. Born Larry Clarence Robinson II on June 19, 1974, he'd been acting since childhood, appearing in shows like The Jeffersons, Webster, and Punky Brewster before he was even a teenager. After Living Single, Robinson quietly became one of the most in-demand voices in animation, without most fans ever realizing it was him. He's voiced Bumblebee and Blitzwing in Transformers, Animated, Falcon in Marvel's Avengers Assemble, Cyborg in Justice League, Doom, and Rook Blanco across the Ben 10 franchise. Now in his early 50s, married with children, Robinson has built exactly the kind of career every character actor dreams of, instantly recognizable to millions of kids who grew up on his voice, even if they never once saw his face. Khalil Kain as Keith. Khalil Kain appeared in a handful of episodes as Keith, Regine's artist boyfriend, but he'd already made his mark on culture a year earlier, starring opposite Tupac Shakur in the 1992 classic Juice. Born November 22, 1964, in Manhattan, Kain is the son of Gilborn Kain, a founding member of the spoken-word group The Last Poets. After living single, he became a series regular on Girlfriends, played Tiger Woods in a Showtime biopic, and appeared in Love Jones and For Colored Girls. Now in his 60s, Kain continues acting and directing, holds a black belt in martial arts, and remains married to artist Elise Lyon, with 2 grown children. Fans still stop him on the street calling him Raheem. The name has followed him for over 3 decades. The cast of Living Single has lived lives every bit as layered as the characters they played, some marked by loss, some by reinvention, all by resilience. Which story surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments, and if you enjoyed this look back, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one.